I didn't have a chance to learn your language on the plane, so I just picked up one word from Dragan. So it's my first time being in Sarajevo. It's a real pleasure to be here. I've just flown in from Slovenia yesterday, and looking at the agenda Dragan has prepared, I think you have a really great day ahead of you. Today's keynote will focus about developers, because this event is all about developers. And if any of you have been developing for quite a few years now, you've seen changes. And I like to start off by saying the rules have changed. Could perhaps, let's create a little bit of interaction in the audience. How many people have been developing in here for more than 1 year? Or in the software business, let's just put it this way. Okay. How many more from 5 years? 10 years? Okay, you're the granddaddies of software, like myself. So you remember the DOS Windows, and you remember Windows coming around, and it's amazing what transformations and technology trends are happening within the computing industry. And at the end of the day, we have to build applications for our consumers of the applications. Whether they are an enterprise, whether they are users on the internet, whether they're using their mobile phones, they need to consume your applications. And if you look at some of the trends which are happening in the industry, PCs are getting more powerful, multiple processors, graphics devices. All of this processing power should be harnessed by your applications. If you can take that power and do something with it, your application is going to be better. I think this is a no-brainer. Some of the toughest places for application development sit when it comes to screens. People consume your applications or work with your applications on any device. They could be working on a netbook, they could be working on a PC, they could be working on a Slate-type device, they could be working in a browser, they could be working on their mobile phone. So screens are everywhere. And writing software which works with every screen on every device can be challenging. If you have a look at natural user interfaces, very often if you've been to a Microsoft talk, we talk about the user experience. And the user experience is something they take away with them. Within the first few seconds, they've decided if they're going to log back into your application or not. If they've downloaded it on the mobile phone, within those first few seconds, there's maybe a 20% chance that they will reload your app again. So you have to make an impression. A natural user interface can be things like touch. It could be multi-point touch. It could be on Surface. It could be on your touch-enabled phones. It could be on your touch-enabled PCs. So technologies which allow you to create these experiences are important for you when you're building your applications. And content is also king. I'm sure you've heard of that. When you want to find out the results of an election, or you want to find out who's won the Oscars, or maybe you just want the football match results, content has to be up to date and refreshed. So these are the trends which I'm going to try and incorporate into developing applications on a Microsoft platform. It's quite an ambitious task, but I think Microsoft has been investing in this a long time. And if anybody has been working on .NET, they will know that this vision is already coming true. This is not my phone. Okay, I thought I didn't recognize the ringtone. So if you've been working on .NET, you will notice you've been able to leverage .NET on browser-based applications and Windows-based applications. And if you've been doing Surface development, again, you can use that same .NET framework in order to build your applications. We need to kind of bring together all of these experiences of the users with some common framework or some common foundation to build on. And the cloud, whatever you want to call the cloud, software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, it gets very confusing when you talk about clouds. We need to understand what the cloud can do for us, whatever type of cloud it is. Some people just talk of anything as a service, and therefore that's cloud. So give me something as a service. If you break that down, however, it's more about just-in-time provisioning, scaling your applications. So you want to be able to take your application and start small, have a small investment, and if you grow, then you grow your investment, and if you fail, then you've only lost a minimal investment, you fail fast. So we need to be able to have this power, this compute power, this storage power on demand. This is something that's key towards cloud computing. You need something you can leverage literally at the flick of a switch. The ability to allow your customers to create an application overnight. They should be able to take their credit card, go to your website, and buy your application online. Whether they're downloading it onto the phone, or whether they're building their own custom portal, because you've built a website management tool which they can use for their own use. So it accelerates and lowers the cost of IT. I like to think of it as lowering the barrier of innovation. All you need to get started on a website nowadays is a PC and an internet connection. And then, of course, if you want to consume cloud, you may purchase a cloud subscription for just 1 month. That's very, very low compared to what previous people had to work with. They had to go and purchase servers, install servers, etc. So, in order to make cloud real, I like to think of saying, imagine having a supercomputer at your fingertips. You all have a laptop which you can run a process which calculates financial modeling, statistics, genetic data calculations, whatever it is. You could run that for 1,000 hours on one PC. But switch that around with the cloud. Imagine taking 1,000 PCs and running that same process for 1 hour without having to purchase the hardware, which when you've finished, you just switch it off, you have your answer, and you've given that to your customers. So the cloud makes that possible. It allows you to invest just when you need to invest, and then switch it off. So when you're building your next applications, think of the cloud as giving you this ability to go on-off. You have a marketing campaign. You have a pilot project you're working on. It's going to have a little bit of life, and then it's going to go away. Then it might come back on again, and then go away. You'll be able to switch these resources on and off inside the cloud. Now, of course, you need to partner with a provider of cloud that you trust. Somebody who has security, somebody who has this ability to let you build on with what you already know. You may be growing fast. You may be building a next social network application. So you don't know how big this thing is going to grow, but you want to start small. Or you may have predictable bursting. You have an e-commerce website, and Mother's Day is around the corner, or Christmas is around the corner, and you don't want to lose sales. You don't want to purchase hardware, because after that burst, it's going to be sitting around doing nothing. So the cloud is here to give you that elastic capability, the ability to, what I call, spill into the cloud. And it's like a tap. You turn it on, you pay. You turn it off, you stop paying. And this is what cloud is all about. I'm not going to get very technical, but maybe you've heard about Microsoft's 3 screens in the cloud. The 3 screens could be on typical processor-based laptops, netbooks, Slate devices. There could be another type of screen, which could be your mobile phone. And there's a third type of screen, which could be basically your TV or some large screen devices or surface-based computing. And the cloud allows you to basically join these experiences together. Today, if you take a look at cloud services, they're typically tied to the device. So if you own a Zune, then you typically have the Zune surface for your Zune device. Or if you're on the PC, then you can use Windows Live and you can use Bing. But you don't typically Bing from your TV screen, for example. And if you're on Xbox, you would only consume Xbox Live on the Xbox device. What we're striving for with the cloud is to create an integrated set of services. So basically, whatever device you have, you are consuming these services because they're all sitting in the cloud. So I play a game on my mobile phone, and my achievements are stored in the cloud, and then I move on to my PC and I carry on playing that same game, and I carry on from the position where I was playing on my phone. This seamless integration of devices. The cloud is powering that back end. Or perhaps it's allowing you to download updates on massive scales for your games that you're releasing or your applications. So think of this cloud as being storage as well as having the ability to compute on demand. So that's basically the cloud explained. And of course, we know there are various flavors of the cloud, and we have Windows Azure as our platform as a service, and we have Office 365 or Live at EDU, which would be our software as a service. Let's move on a little bit more now into creating great web experiences. So I think Microsoft is playing very, very strongly in the cloud space. Now it's time to consume those cloud services by creating great web experiences. And the browser is a place where a lot of people are going to live going forwards into the future. People spend an enormous amount of their time in their web browser. Whether they're browsing for work, whether they're browsing for pleasure, whether they're doing email, it happens within their browser. And the web is an amazing place. The web has 255 million websites, and it's growing at an amazing rate. 21.4 million new websites are coming online every year. So these are Netcraft statistics. This is quite an interesting situation because what this has actually done is it's liberalized information. So the web is a way to get information to people very, very quickly on a global scale. It gets your application in front of your users extremely quickly, and it gets it to them with the right information at the right time on their terms. However, having so many websites has led to some poor experiences. And these are the things you really want to avoid. And as people, looking towards creating next generation websites, I'm going to pick on just two topics which I would like to help you focus on going forwards as we move towards the next generation internet. Now, this is a terrible website. I hope nobody remembers this website, but it doesn't matter what the website is about, but if you look at the last updated date over here, it's last updated 2001, and these websites still exist. And anybody who sees this, the first thing they're going to say is, this information is outdated, therefore it's irrelevant. So content, like I said, is very, very important. You need to be building applications which allow you to rapidly provision the content and make it easier for developers to update the website, as well as end users to put current content online. So update frequency is extremely important. And the first thing you think about when you talk about update frequency is, I need a CMS. I need a content management system, which will allow me and allow my users to keep this website up to date. So any sites which are not updated frequently, I think you will agree, will not survive very long. And if you have to update your website using Notepad, how many people write web programming using Notepad? Or some form of text-based editor? There must be some of you, yeah. It gives you amazing control and flexibility, but it requires immense skill. So I admire you if you're developing inside some form of text-based editor. It's good, we can work with this. We have a topic today where we will be talking about Web Matrix. Now, Web Matrix is a free package which Microsoft is giving you, which allows you to work with open source content management systems. So you can work with things like Joomla, you can work with Drupal, you could work with Orchard, Umbraco. We've taken the top 10 open source CMSs and we've allowed you to use those to create next generation websites using a tool which we have made available for free. And when we talk about Orchard later on, you'll have a very interesting talk about how this application, Web Matrix, will help you develop those applications, whether you're using our CMS, which is called Orchard, or whether you're using an open source CMS. So this is one great way to keep your websites up to date. They can be extremely polished. Within a few minutes, and I think when you see the demo, you'll be amazed. Within 2 or 3 minutes, you can have a website which is up and running on a publisher because it automatically allows you to publish to those websites with the press of a button. What you need is a hoster. And of course, you need to find a hoster which you can work with and you want to work with. That may not be free, which I think is acceptable. So Orchard is a great open source project which Microsoft has put out there so that you can use. The next part, which makes life tricky for developers, is working with different devices. People are consuming your websites on devices with different capabilities. They could be on their Windows Phone, they could be on their netbook, a Slate-type PC, or even in their car. And I'm not advocating that you browse the web whilst you're driving your car, because that can be quite dangerous. So, browsers, again, are going to be critical to delivering your software. How many people have heard of HTML5? Okay, that's pretty good. HTML5 is really a game changer. And when you think of HTML5, we do have two organizations or working groups which are establishing this as the next standard for web development. And the W3C and ECMA have come up with quite a few standards which need to be implemented in order to create this next generation of HTML5. It's a huge undertaking. It's not going to be ready anytime soon. However, a lot of these specifications have gone through the draft stage, and they are being finalized. And as these specifications get finalized, what Microsoft is doing is it's implementing them in its latest browser, IE9. So we've taken parts of the HTML5 specification and CSS, and there's also geolocation in there, but I'm not sure if we're working with geolocation yet, and we've taken parts of SVG, and we're enabling people to build websites which can consume HTML5 content already. But we're focusing on what's already stable, what's already been signed off upon. Building these next generation experiences are quite amazing. Why? Because if you take a look at something like the canvas or the video tag, you can start working without plugins. And I'll hopefully show you some demos of what people have been building and what we can achieve with HTML5 and Internet Explorer 9. So let's have a look at some demos. So first of all, what I want to do is just basically open up my browser. So if we take a look at speed reading, how many people have seen the IE9 test drive site where you can actually test? How many people have IE9 installed? Okay. The rest of you, how many are using Chrome? Firefox? Opera? Something else? All three of them. Okay, I forgot to ask that. Okay. So, since most of you are using Chrome, let's go with Chrome. I took the choice for you, okay? I hope you don't mind. And let's take this. And let's do this. And let's run our speed test. So, basically what we're doing here is we're going to be utilizing some of the graphics capabilities of the PC. We're taking the PC's graphics capabilities and we're using that because we know it's on the PC. We can hardware accelerate because of the browser. Now, I'm going to give Chrome a head start. I think that's fair. Okay, so we get Chrome going, and then what we do is we come across to IE9, and he goes ready, set, go, and off he goes counting. So manipulating those canvas objects, using the graphics GPU to accelerate, Internet Explorer's ready. And Chrome still has to get there. So anybody who thinks IE9 is slow, I might have to beg to differ with you. But please, try IE9 with your favorite websites, because that's the best way to test it. Go to cnn.com, try those other websites, and have a look at some of the benchmarks. But this is graphically intensive, so it can be quite tricky at times. So I'm going to just close Chrome. We could try Firefox as well, but I think that you can do yourself. Okay, let's have a look at some of the videos. So here, I'm actually starting to play. Now, of course, it depends on the power of my internet connection. But you notice I'm playing videos without any plugin. I'm using the HTML5 video tag to render video playing without actually having any plugin available. And the video tag will allow me to manipulate it and paint it to the canvas. So I can paint this video in any perspective that I wish, and I can manipulate it through JavaScript very, very transparently. So HTML5 is opening up the game. HTML5 is not something Microsoft has created as a standard, but what it's doing is it's implementing it as a standard inside IE9. So this is, a great experience where you can actually go through, and as I said before, I'm not using any plugins. So here I'm basically combining the power of the video tag with the canvas in order to work around and make a great experience. And you notice the player has come up automatically. Here's another experience. So those are just demos. This is a real-life application developed in Hungary. And you may have heard the music playing earlier on during the keynote. That was my fault. I'm going to just pick a book. And I'm going to decide. Now, I don't read Hungarian, so forgive me if the text is not intelligible, but basically what I can do is I can turn the pages of this book, okay, using a browser. Now again, no plugins. But this is great because if I'm doing this and I can skim it, skin it, and theme it, I can do what I want, change the text. This is available on any device. This is not Microsoft's specific platform. But you do need a browser which supports HTML5. So if IE9 is running on your Slate device, then you can basically be working on this great experience from within your browser. Last thing I'd like to show you is the richness of the interface. So here's another example. I basically can chart inside a browser. So I can grab different objects. Hopefully I managed to grab the object. There he is. And I can do wonderful things with this object. Change his size. I can grab him from here and rotate him. I've got these toolbars. And this is all rendered in HTML5. I just have to show this demo, okay? I've just thought of this now. And this is something which Google worked on. Angry Birds. How many people play Angry Birds? Oh my goodness, I wish I'd written that app. So take a look at this and try this at home in Chrome. So it's been worked on with Chrome, but we do support an HD version as well. And try just playing this. I'm not very good at Angry Birds, as you can see. I'm only up to level 4. Okay, he's over there. But, I can, I'm not very good, as you can see. But try this at home. We've implemented, all of the HTML5 necessary, and just have a look at the high definition version. I just got to make sure I get that guy. Yeah, I'll get there eventually. So we are really working on interoperable standards. We are making sure that our experience inside IE9 is the greatest that you could possibly expect when you're working with our browsers. So let's jump back to the presentation. Windows Phone 7, another device which is changing the game of developing applications. We had to redesign our Windows Mobile 6.5 interface completely from the ground up. We took that enterprise feel of the mobile phone experience and we turned it into a customer experience. The whole point is that you as the user demand deeper and richer experiences. Many of you have applications on your phones, with lots of buttons, and you have to navigate through these applications. Microsoft has enabled that same kind of app store experience on its phone, but we've changed the game to integrate a lot of that experience into a seamless mix of those applications. Applications are not islands of functionality. Of course, the cloud is powering a lot of the mobile phone content, and we have worked with hardware providers to have standard hardware with standard buttons. The user interface is very clean. It's based on Metro. So anybody who's traveled around the world knows that this is an easy to understand analogy. When you're looking for directions, it's crisp, it's clear, and very, very easy to design for. And this is good for developers, because we're not so good with graphics. So having this crisp, clean user interface design makes it much easier for you to build applications which look professional and match with the Windows Phone theme. You'll notice when you're browsing through the Windows Phone system, if I'm on a contact, right on this side here, I can actually go through from the contact to that person's profile. And then I can see what other updates they've made on Facebook. And then I can go to the emails, and I can basically explore multiple contents through these hubs of activities. So it's great when I'm about to call somebody, I basically get this preview and I can see their Facebook status updates. I don't go to the Facebook app, but whilst I'm about to make the phone call, I can see their information and say, oh, happy birthday, it's your birthday, even though I forgot. Okay? Some of the statistics of Windows Phone, 1.5 million tools downloads to date. So since we released, we have 1.5 million people have downloaded the tools. 365,000 developers are building applications on Windows Phone. And that's increasing by 1,200 every week. So we are gaining momentum on the Windows Phone platform. 65% of those apps are paid. So you can make money on Windows Phone 7. And I think the greatest experience for any developer, student, enterprise, business, is that within 1.8 days, your app is on the marketplace. There were some app store providers which took over a month to get your application into the marketplace. So the marketplace is a great place where you can advertise your applications and get global reach. And we've reached 11,000 apps within 1 year, which is the fastest growth to that number of any of the other application providers. So we've beaten the other two major providers in reaching that milestone with quality apps. So the marketplace does do sanitization on those apps. If you're building apps for the phone, again, you've got this cloud and you've got server side. You need tools. And the tools are tools which you are familiar with already. Dragan mentioned Visual Studio. Visual Studio 2010, with the phone edition tools, which are free, allows you to build applications for the phone. You can build games with XNA, or you can build Silverlight applications if you want to build rich business applications on the phone. And you can consume cloud services, which Microsoft is providing, such as mapping services, such as social services, Facebook APIs. You can consume those because they're the same APIs which you've worked on the desktop. So moving to mobile phone development is going to be incredibly easy and much faster. And of course, you can use identity to authenticate your users. So we're giving you these cloud services that you can leverage. And we're giving you the tools on the phone so you can build great apps. As you can see, here I've built a little bit of a social application, which is a newsreader. It's going to be consuming RSS feeds, and it's going to be showing those inside a nice Silverlight application with a panorama, so I can basically scroll through my information. And we'll have a look at the phone in just a minute. We can build great games with 3D. Okay, so we can link to Xbox, we can link to Zoom, and we can have a game running on our Windows Phone device. And we've got high-performance graphics rendering. And XNA, if you're developing games, does a lot of the work for you. If you're a student and you're learning to build games, the last thing you want to do is learn how to do the content pipeline, how to generate sounds. You want to focus on the game, but then later on you want to go into the underlying details and to performance optimize your experience. So I did mention we give you rich support to consume cloud services within the phone as well. You can also publish your applications using App Market, and I think Dragan mentioned this in his slides. So you are able to actually register with App Market and get a developer account and deploy applications to Windows Phone 7. So I don't know how many people heard of Mango. Anybody know what Mango is? Okay, it's not a fruit, it's a phone. Mango is the next generation of Windows Phone 7. I'm still stuck on Windows Phone. So it's really great because now everybody's going to see my password. Okay. Yeah, I know. I've got to switch down that one over here. So let's just stop this. Let's just kill my browser. Internet Explorer. Sorry about this. I can't seem to switch tasks back, but I think I can do this, which will allow you to put the sound back. Good. Okay. So on my phone, I've basically got a number of functionalities which I can use. One of the ones I like a lot is, imagine I'm searching for something. So I've just hit the phone button, and what I want to do is I want to do a search. And you notice over here, I have something called Vision. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to get a book, and if I can hold it steady enough, it's just done a search for me. So it's actually taken those items, and it's now allowing me to search for that book. So this is the exact book I want. This is what I can buy it, and I can actually go and do reviews. This is integrating Bing search with a little bit of the video API. I'm intercepting the stream. I'm running a little bit of OCR, because I can actually even scan if I wish. I could actually scan the text. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we can even scan the barcode on the back. So let's do the same thing. And let's just grab the barcode. Oh, it picked up the barcode, but I moved. Okay, so there it would have actually picked up the barcode. Or I can actually scan the text on the book, and then I can do some OCR. Okay, I should have let it finish the actual scan before I was working. We also have IE9 on the phone. So we actually have the ability, you'll notice over here, to do tabbed browsing. So I can actually go through and have a tabbed browsing experience using IE9 on the Windows Mobile device, or the Windows Phone 7 device. We also support multitasking. So if we're actually building an application which needs multitasking, I could actually be playing a game here. So I'm going to play one game. Has my USB out failed for me? Okay, let's just rerun the emulator. Seems I lost the emulator halfway. I might have moved the... Okay, it seems like I've lost my connection to the actual mobile device. I'll have to... In the essence of time, I'll move on if anybody wants to see the rest of the demo. We do have full multitasking support, so if you're building applications and you need multitasking, this is a great feature to have enabled on the phone. Okay, so I'm going to quickly move on. How many people have Kinect? Nobody has a Kinect device. Okay, one person has a Kinect device. 2. Kinect takes interaction with your PC or your phone, well, actually your PC or your gaming console to the next level. And at the moment, Kinect is pretty much tied to your Xbox device. So you become the controller. Kinect doesn't give you something to play with, but your body movements basically become the controlling device. And what it can do is basically understand with voice recognition, it can do OCR through the cameras, and it can detect the depth and the body structure based on some very complex algorithms which Microsoft Research has enabled inside the device. Now, using Kinect for games is one thing, but as developers, it would be really exciting if we could connect the Kinect device to our PCs and have some form of SDK which will allow us to build applications which interact with natural body movements. So I'm going to give you just 2 examples of Kinect running on a PC, not running on an Xbox. So here we've got something which is quite lovely, because what we're going to do is we're going to fly through cities and Bing Maps using a Kinect device without needing to understand how to use the controller. It's very, very intuitive if your body is the actual controller. So it seems I don't have any sound, but I'm not sure if there's any sound in this video anyway. So what's actually happening here is you notice her body structure is being mapped, and it's actually detecting the bones and the joint structure, so it can tell by her movement what she wants to do. Tilting tilts the camera, and of course going like this makes you go down, raising your arms makes you go up. And it's a great way to interact with the experience without having to learn any complex user instructions. This was actually done by a team over there, the .NET Tears, and they actually have documented the whole process of how they've created that particular experience. Oh no, I'm sorry about this. I just jumped out of my slides, and now I need to make sure I go back to the controller. Okay. Another great experience, and this was released by Microsoft just over a year ago. I received this video where we basically have a virtual fitting room. I don't know if we have any sound, but it's great to have a little bit of sound for this one. This young girl is actually utilizing Kinect to try on dresses. It's an augmented reality type fitting room. So you can see here, she's actually trying dresses on, and it's changing the video feed and actually putting the dresses on, and she's trying to experience it without actually doing the dress fitting. This is just a mock-up. This was a prototype which Microsoft Research envisaged a year ago. When they were working with Kinect, they said, imagine somebody would build this. So there she is, she's trying on the dresses in different colors, etc., etc. Only a few weeks ago, I received this from our colleagues in Russia. Basically, Topshop in Moscow has already built a real working version. So this is something not made up. and we should be streaming fast enough. Please don't download anything whilst this is running. So Topshop have implemented the AR door, augmented reality door. And this is in a real shop with a real device. So yes, we have a DJ. I guess that's important. I couldn't edit that bit out. There's the AR door. It's the real device. And here she is trying on dresses. So of course, quickly, this young lady is getting an experience to say, this dress suits me, this dress doesn't suit me. Of course, there are clothes on this person, so it's overlaying on top of the clothes. And of course, the gesture to take a photo. And what's really great is, if you look towards the end of the video, there's a bit in the middle where a gentleman tries dresses on. I think that's quite hilarious. It should actually detect if he's a man and possibly give him some men's clothes to try on. But look at the lady turning around. It's actually generated the back of the dress for her as well. So Microsoft, with its innovations and with Microsoft Research, are bringing together an SDK. It's not available yet, but hopefully very, very soon, there will be a Kinect SDK, which will allow you to have a programming API to hook up to these user interface inputs. It has voice recognition. It even has 4 microphones to actually get the direction of where the voice is coming from. 2 people can interact with this device at the same time, and it will know which person is doing what. And it has depth sensors, so it can tell how close to the screen you are and how far back you are. So I hope you've enjoyed today's presentation, where we've basically talked about where Microsoft's visions for technologies are and how we're starting to help you realize those visions by building the next generation interfaces and creating a user experience which your customers will never forget when they use your applications. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. We do have session evaluations. They're very important to the local subsidiary so that you know, so we know what is important to you and what you would like to see more of. I will have another session later on Agile. We've got a great lineup, so please stick around. If you do want to talk to me, please feel free to catch me and I'll share as much information as I can. Enjoy the rest of the day and enjoy the next session. Thank you.